Only 2:40, we had reports that there was a shooting at the Tanger Outlets at 95th Avenue in Glendale in the center of the shopping plaza. Information came in that there was possible multiple victims with gunshot injuries. We were able to locate 3 persons with gunshot injuries that were transported to local Valley hospitals. At this time, no one has passed away. We believe there's potentially at least one person with life-threatening injuries. We only know of one child, of the 3 victims being a child. We're still confirming ages of those persons. We're still sorting out how many victims, how many potential shooters there are, but we do not believe that there is anyone outstanding. We have officers conducting secondary searches. Primary searches have been completed. We've asked everyone that as we go through and ensure that each of the businesses is safe, they're gathering on the west side of the parking lot of Tanger. And as we sort out who is a victim, who is a witness, we're able to release them. So we ask that anyone who has a loved one that they know that is out here to gather and wait at 95th Avenue and Maryland in the north preferred parking lot at the stadium. Best routes to get there are going to be 91st Avenue to Maryland or off of the freeway, the Loop 101 on the Maryland exit. But we ask that everyone stay off of Glendale Avenue or 95th Avenue. Give me 1 second. We do know that this was a singular incident. Again, this was a singular incident between 2 groups of people. This was not an active shooter. Again, this was not an active shooter. It was an altercation that occurred between 2 groups of persons. It turned into a physical altercation and then a shooting. We have multiple Valley agencies that are out here assisting us with the secondary searches. Many investigators. It's going to take some time as we go through and speak to all of the persons that are out here, again, to sort out if we have any further victims or any witnesses to identify. This is going to go through the evening hours. Potentially, but again, we ask everyone who is not involved to stay out of the area unless you're coming to wait for a loved one, again, and that's going to be 95th Avenue in Maryland.
We're hearing that one of the victims who has those life-threatening injuries could be a child. Can you confirm that that person who does have those life-threatening injuries is a child?
I believe that one of the victims is a child. Again, we know that we have 3 persons who are transported with injuries with gunshot wounds, and one was a small child.
Are any suspects in custody?
At this time, we are still sorting out who exactly are shooters and who exactly are victims. So that's still part of the investigation with this crime scene that is this large in capacity with this many people to talk to. We really have to confirm more information before we can identify who's who.
Can you talk about the lockdown situation that happened right after the shooting? Can you detail what that looked like?
You know, I wasn't out here, but I can tell you that we were able to put out information over social media almost immediately after the shooting information came out to advise people in the area to lock down, just to ensure that they're not out and about running around, especially until we could identify that, again, this was a singular incident between 2 parties and not an active shooter.
Any indication that it's gang-related?
I have no indication of that at this time.
And what weapons were used?
I don't have any information on the weapons.
Can you talk about how many possible, you said it was an extensive area where this happened. Can you talk about how many rounds of bullets were probably?
We don't have any information to indicate how many rounds at this time. So just to let you know, I came over here before I was able to do the investigations briefing. So I tried to get as much information as possible to give you guys at least some information, because we know there are so many people out there that have a loved one that's potentially over here. There are hundreds of employees and customers, and we just want to make sure that the public knows that we're doing everything we can to ensure that there are no further victims.
We appreciate the update. Well, you said that the shooting occurred at the central part of the outlets. Can you be more specific? Was it a food court? What was it?
I don't believe there's a food court here
Okay.
necessarily, but it's just the center of the Tanger Outlets. There's multiple businesses over there. I'm not sure exactly how many scenes or potential, how far it went out.
Age range of victims? You said one child.
I don't have an age range. They all seem to be very young, so we can't confirm if there's more than one juvenile.
Okay. Can you talk about any previous incidents that have happened here, shootings at this particular center, and is that a cause of concern for anybody shopping?
I don't have any information on any other shootings at Tanger. We did have a shooting at an active shooter incident that happened at Westgate a few years ago, and we were able to take that suspect into custody, and there were no persons that passed away from that, but again, a very traumatic incident for everyone involved.
You mentioned sorting out witnesses and also victims. How does that work for you? Walk us through that.
So anybody who feels like they had a gun pointed at them could be a victim of aggravated assault. So we have to talk to each individual, and there are hundreds of people here, before we can identify if they were a potential victim. If anybody has any other types of injuries, they may not be gunshot wounds. There might have been some sort of physical altercation. So we have to talk to everybody involved. And again, this is going to be a very extensive investigation that's going to go through the evening.
Can you give us the gender of the young child?
You know, I don't have that. It's gone back and forth which one it was. I think it's a very chaotic scene. So when you have a lot of witnesses, everybody has their own interpretation of what happened because you have different perspectives and viewpoints. So it's hard to confirm that information.
Can you talk about chaotic scene? You just said that. What does that effort look like for police, first responders, arriving to what you don't know?
It's absolutely a coordinated effort. So we have other West Valley agencies out here. We also have the Department of Public Safety. We have several tactical units, and that is just every agency out here working together to ensure the safety of everyone. So they're going door to door. They are ensuring that we, again, have no further victims. They're making sure that everyone is safe and feels safe to come out.
Are they currently doing that right now? Is the SWAT
The secondary searches are going on as we speak. As we walked over here, they were still going.
Are they also doing that at the hotels?
That's correct. So we're going to also be continuing those searches out at Westgate and at the hotels, and it is for precautionary. Again, we do not believe that there are any shooters outstanding.
At this point, was there more than one shooter? Do we know that yet?
We are still sorting that out. It's, like I said, it's a very chaotic scene. We're still trying to determine who exactly are shooters, who exactly are victims, but we did have 3 injuries that were transported.
All right, guys, we're going to have to go back to the briefing.
Were any officers or security at the time of the shooting?
I don't have that information. I apologize.
We're gonna
Like for reunification for families, just that information. Can you please detail what that looks like?
Absolutely. So as detectives are able to identify and talk to each of the individuals that are over in the parking lot, again, that's hundreds of people. So they try to identify what role, if they were a victim, if they were a witness, if they were just a shopper and were told to lock down. So the less involved they were, the more likely they are to get out of here sooner. There's potential that we are going to be busing people if they can't get to their vehicles. They're going to be going over to the North Preferred parking lot at the stadium at 95th Avenue and Maryland. Again, we need people to access that from 91st Avenue or from the Maryland exit off the Loop 101.
American Red Cross on scene, do you know?
I don't have that information. I apologize.
So we're going to head back to the briefing. We are going to try and update you guys as soon as possible when we get more information. We're going to ask you guys to remain here, monitor our Twitter accounts.
Okay, as we're wrapping up this news conference now, we're getting new information from Glendale Police. We know that the Tanger Outlets and also Westgate are still on lockdown at this hour, that the shooting that happened around 2:40 this afternoon involved at least 3 victims right now. We're told one has potentially life-threatening injuries. One is a small child. We don't know the age just yet. That's one of the things we are waiting on. And police are still trying to determine the shooter from the victim in all of this.
And we'll be back with more after this.
Okay, welcome back. I'm Zach Crenshaw, and we are continuing our coverage of that breaking news, that shooting at the Tanger Outlets in Glendale. And this is what you're looking at. This is a map around State Farm Stadium, as you can see, and this is just south